Welcome to Secrets Out Idaho. Each week, we let you in on the secrets of Southern Idaho and speak to the people who make it such a unique, hidden gem. I'm your host, Connie Stouffer. Sonia Hain, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about the 12 cool things to give and the United Way of South Central Idaho. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you so much. This is a great opportunity and really talking about ways that we can impact our community in thoughtful and unique ways and creative.
Awesome. So today I wanted to talk to you about hotel vouchers. Tell me more about that.
Wow, this opportunity that I have with my job with the United Way of South Central Idaho is I'm a resource development director. And what that means is I go out and I work with for-profits, and then I go and work with the nonprofits to better understand how to bridge some gaps. And there seems to be these trends that come up all the time, and I'll write it down. I'll meet with a partner, and then I go and meet with all these people. And hotel vouchers is probably one of the, in my mind, I'm like, I want to start building tiny homes. Like that's how big of a deal these hotel vouchers are. And we have how many hotels in our community? I mean, we're talking, we serve Mountain Home to American Falls to all the way to Stanley, which covers all of Wood River. And then we've also got Jackpot, which has got all the casinos, right? Hotel vouchers is something that every nonprofit uses. Maybe the Humane Society doesn't use them, but most of all the nonprofits, all the homeless shelters, all the foster families, all the refugees, all of the food pantries, these hotel vouchers are extremely important because they are serving our community in a crisis. And it's really ultimately for them to not be on the streets and for children to feel that they have a warm, safe place to go during a time. Voices Against Violence is huge for hotel vouchers. If there's anything that I can express to you that is important to these type of organizations, you need to figure out a way and partner with a hotel in your community or find a way to, save some money and buy one a month. That'd be 12 a year, 12 rooms a year that you could donate to any of these organizations. Like the top ones for me are probably the homeless shelters and then Voices Against Violence, which is the domestic violence shelter. Those two, and then, obviously I could go crazy too, but hotel vouchers at the hospital. So someone goes to come and get has cancer, and they go to the hospital to be able to go get treatment. I found out that they're here for 3 days. They have the intake, they get, the first round, then there's second round, third round. Did you know that the way that the policy reads is that they're able to support the patient, but not necessarily their family? Right. So if dad came from Utah to be with, their child and mom came from wherever, the ultimate, and if they can be able to work it through where they all fit in the same hotel room or whatever, but there isn't any support for those families that need to be there for each other. And it was just really disheartening to me because I'm imagining my own family going through a crisis, and if I was just be able to give one gift to be like, here's your room for the night. Don't worry about it. Here's your number. When you get done, go and relax, watch some TV, get room service, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's so many of those times, like you mentioned Voices Against Violence. Like if you're leaving a domestic violence situation and all you have are maybe like a suitcase or the clothes on your back, and you don't have, in a lot of those situations, they don't have access to money. There's been all sorts of scenarios where they just don't have any place to go and they need a place to stay. And then also, things happen, people's homes burn down or there's a flood in their home or things like that where they, a family all of a sudden doesn't have a place to stay and they need some place to figure things out and stay. And then all for those people who are in the hospital. I think about when my son was born, he had to be in the NICU for a few days. And so luckily we lived in town, so my husband could just go home. But if you're from further away, like Shoshone or Rupert or somewhere else, and you've got to drive, 2 hours round trip every day just to see your baby, it would be so nice to be able to just be close, to be a support to your partner and to your baby or to your other family members who's in the hospital for whatever. I think those are all scenarios that, like, unless you've had to be in an unfortunate situation, you may not have thought about that.
Yeah. And I, again, we live in a really rural community, and I have this, so if anyone that knows me, Sonia lives in a utopia constantly. I'm always trying to find pathways to like, what would be the ideal scene? And my ideal scene is, as I'm doing this podcast, if you are a manager at a hotel, if you are an owner of a hotel, of a bed and breakfast or anything like that, I challenge you. I don't understand, I guess, that why can't there be one room that is set aside every night, 365 days a year, you have one room that is designated to serve your community. And that's really where my tiny home dream comes up. And I'm like, we're going to build a tiny home and put it out in front of the hospital. If anyone wants to do that, I'm game for that too. We've got to think as a community how important it is to have this transitional housing, in a sense, for people that are, we don't choose to be on the street, right? We don't choose to want to sleep in our car. That's definitely, no matter who we are, that is not something we strive to do. And so how do we help each other have a room to stay in during our crisis times, for each other? And that's kind of where I feel like if there's anything that I could do to help expedite something like that, I want it to happen. It needs to happen.
I think there's so many opportunities. So the idea about our local hotels, if they had a room that they could set aside to be
Yeah,
for community, but also,
we've got like 30 in Twin. And I'm like, if everyone gave one room, and they just said, this room isn't, it's got one bed in it, it's not as pretty as the others, whatever the situation, it doesn't have to be extravagant, right? But,
yeah.
and then we could even get sponsored. Like I've even gone to some of these other companies are like, oh, that would be awesome. And then that company could sponsor it and have like, chocolates on your pillow. And have you ever gone somewhere where they've made you feel so special? The essential oils are going and you go back to the room, and it's sponsored by blah, 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 and hotel vouchers are another unique and special way for us to give. And I just really encourage all of us to think about it when we're giving. Is it something that is really going to add value? Even if you wrote a message like, hey, this is, hopefully tonight, that this room was paid with love, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's probably people out there who have apartments or homes that they use for like Airbnb or vacation rentals. And there's probably plenty of days during the year when those are empty, slow season or shoulder seasons when they're not
That's why I love
full.
you, Connie. You're thinking, let's do it. If you have an Airbnb, we're reaching out to you. Please, that's a great idea.
Yeah, set aside one day a month, or reach out when you're going to have a slow season and say, hey, I've got rooms if people need them.
Yeah.
I know that's a cost to them because they have to clean them and turn them over. But still, I think it's an easy way to give something that would be so impactful.
Well, and like, what about the hotels? Like, there's some that close during the winter. I'm like, why? Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you say, if you pay for the housekeeping, we're not going to have a manager on site. Here's 3 keys to like the manager at the hospital. And then the United Way partners with the hospital and partners with that hotel that we get those rooms cleaned the whole time. You know what I mean? Like we pay for that, and it's unemploying people, or it's employing people. It is giving a warm, safe place. And then it also helps the hotel give back.
Yeah, I think there's so many ways. I think there's lots of opportunities for.
We gotta figure out this way. This should not be churches. I've talked to so many churches in rural communities that are usually the staples for that community during times of crisis. Is the people run to the church and say, my house burned down, or I'm out, I'm in a domestic violence situation, and the churches are like, the number one thing they spend money on is hotel vouchers.
Really? I didn't know that.
And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, they do the best that they can, but then the business is like, well, we can't not charge you. And I get it. I mean, I'm not saying give the whole entire, place, but one room. And if it's, if it's full, then it's full, but at least having that commitment, I guess. If I owned a hotel or a bed and breakfast, that's what I would do, or an Airbnb.
Sonia, honestly, I think if you ran one, you'd go out of business because you'd give everything away for free because you have such a giving heart.
Well, I would be wealthy in other things. Let me just tell you that.
Yes, you would. For sure. Awesome. So if you want to give back, or if you own a hotel or an Airbnb, please visit United Way, scid.org to get in contact with Sonia, to find out other ways to give and to donate. And you can also visit southernidaho.org/lifestyle to learn more about all of the 12 cool things to give. Thanks so much, Sonia.
Honey, thank you. This one was fun.
Thanks for listening to Secrets Out Idaho. You can follow Southern Idaho Economic Development on social media or visit southernidaho.org to learn more. Please take a moment to leave a rating and review and subscribe so you can be the first to hear more Secrets Out Idaho. Until next time.